A group of friends entered a huge cardboard box, only to find themselves in a strange maze. The walls were moving, and mysterious whispers. Every time, mysterious and terrifying things appear, but will they be able to escape? David, a jobless 30-year-old, devotes his days to constructing a cardboard labyrinth. He claims to be a talented artist, but hasn't produced anything of value. In an opening scene, we watch a recorded interview with David, who explains that he built the maze to prove his capabilities. He also acknowledges with regret the lives lost because of his creation. The film then takes us back 3 days. David's girlfriend, Anna, returns from a trip to discover an enormous cardboard structure in her living room. When she calls for David, he answers from within the structure. He welcomes her home, proudly declaring he built the maze by himself. Anna excuses herself to shower, but finds David still inside the cardboard upon her return. He admits to working on the maze all weekend and lost his way. Confused, Anna points out he can simply knock down the cardboard and exit. David insists it's much larger inside and refuses to dismantle his labor-intensive creation. Anna grows impatient and attempts to enter, but David warns her that it's too dangerous. She shakes the cardboard, causing items to topple inside, and David screams for her to stop. Anna gives up, then decides she's going in, but David continues to prevent her entry, fearing she will get lost. Anna inquires how long David has been in the maze, to which he replies 3 days. Concerned, she suggests tearing it down, but he stubbornly seeks an alternative. With no other options, Anna calls David's friend, Gordon, for assistance. When Gordon arrives, Anna fills him in, but David insists no one enter until the maze is complete. He then describes the structure's beauty, explaining he built from the center out like a seashell, while Anna and Gordon discuss the predicament. They remark on David's tendency to leave projects unfinished and question how he's going to the bathroom in there. Overhearing, David admits he hasn't eaten in 3 days. Worried, Anna and Gordon attempt to lift the cardboard, but the box suddenly begins violently shaking like there's a machine inside. Gordon calls their mutual friend Leonard for help but inadvertently invites more people, including journalist Harry and his crew, siblings Greg and Bryn, energetic Jane, 2 Belgian tourists, and a homeless man. David warns everyone against entering or damaging the maze due to its obstacles and traps. Frustrated, Leonard leaves when David refuses assistance. Anna grows increasingly concerned, and David apologizes for putting her in this situation. He expresses how much he misses her, and despite her frustration, she tells him that she misses him as well. Anna decides to enter the maze and rescue David. Thrilled, Harry begins documenting everything for his film, seeing that Anna is getting ready to enter. All but the homeless man decide to join her. Once inside, they find that Dave wasn't crazy. The structure is far more bigger than it appears from the exterior. Gordon gets a first-hand experience of the labyrinth when he inadvertently cuts his finger, and the cardboard floor absorbs his blood. As Jane and her companions explore the maze independently, Harry and his team trail Annie and Gordon. They search for Dave, but quickly discover the labyrinth is more complex than anticipated. Trying to navigate their way, Harry stumbles upon a button with a warning not to press it. Ignoring the caution, he pushes causing Gordon to be struck by a ball. The group then encounters a passageway leading to a musical chamber, with walls adorned with keyboard designs. They find that they can enter the wall through the black keys, which brings them to a pit filled with discarded paper, overlooked by 2 origami birds perched on a balcony. Suddenly, one of the birds attacks, causing panic among the group. As the door to the chamber closes, Annie searches for an alternative exit and discovers a colossal face sculpture on the wall. She assists the group in escaping through the sculpture's mouth. Annie is unnerved by the ordeal and struggles to accept that the origami creatures are alive. Harry attempts to record her reaction, but Jane interrupts, excitedly sharing her enjoyment of exploring the maze. However, her enthusiasm is short-lived as she accidentally triggers a trap, resulting in her decapitation. In a bizarre twist, her body releases confetti and yarn instead of blood, causing the group to flee in terror. The scene shifts to Greg and Bryn playing hide-and-seek in the maze, where Greg accidentally sets off another trap, crushing him between a wall and a spiked grate. Bryn discovers his lifeless body and is doused with an odd pink substance. Elsewhere, Annie expresses frustration about Dave's implementation of the traps. Gordon clarifies that without them, the maze would merely be a network of intricate corridors. Bryn, now frightened, joins them and informs them of what happened to Greg, guiding them to the scene of his death. To their shock, Greg's body is missing, and a trail of blood and enormous footprints lead away from the room. Gordon surmises that the prints belong to a man-eating, half-bull, half-human creature called the Minotaur. Fed up, Annie resolves to cut a hole in the cardboard wall to help everyone escape. As she does, wind begins to blow, and loud noises emanate as if something is attempting to prevent her actions. She succeeds, only to find another chamber on the other side. Sensing impending danger, the group hastily enters the new room, but Bryn remains behind, transfixed by something. Despite their pleas, a colossal monster quickly snatches her up, ending her life. Fearful, the group flees and finally encounters Dave. Annie leads them through a small door into a peculiar room furnished with a cardboard table and chair. Safe for the moment, an argument ensues, and everyone blames Dave for their predicament. Dave reminds them he warned against entering, but nevertheless promises to lead them out. He directs them through a secret door and into a pipe that transforms them into cardboard figures. He assures them all will be well once they return to the apartment. However, the monstrous creature reappears, sending the group running for their lives. David guides the group out of the chamber, and at last, something positive transpires. As they cross a passageway, they all return to their original forms. The Minotaur pursues them, but David builds a makeshift barrier to deter it. Tensions rise once more as everyone desires to flee the labyrinth, leading to heated arguments. When the situation escalates, David intervenes, disclosing that the only way out is to finish constructing the incomplete maze. Nonetheless, Annie forbids him from proceeding and instead commands him to lead them out. Reluctantly, David complies, and as they search for an exit, they encounter an unfamiliar wall. Oddly, David does not remember constructing it. Meanwhile, Leonard arrives home and enters the maze, where he discovers the Minotaur's axe and Jane's decapitated head. As he departs, a colossal origami insect attaches itself to his back. Elsewhere, David brings Annie and the others to the entertainment room. He then escorts them to another peculiar chamber containing a mesmerizing gap in the wall. The opening has a hypnotic effect, drawing Annie and the others toward it. However, David cautions them to keep their distance. When they disregard his warning, he unveils his hand, now transformed into cardboard, from touching the opening. The group proceeds, only to find the maze expanding on its own. Overcome by the bizarre events, David pleads for help in defeating the giant so he can complete the maze and return home. Regrettably, the group rejects the idea. In the midst of the chaos, Harry proposes interviewing David for a documentary, to which he agrees. During the interview, David confesses his self-loathing for being a jobless 30-year-old, reliant on his parents. He built the maze to prove his capabilities to them and others, and he apologizes for the deaths within the labyrinth. Touched by his vulnerability, Annie pledges to help him escape. Reinvigorated, the group strategizes their escape. Gordon suggests that the living growing maze must have a heart they can locate and destroy. David agrees, stating that everything typically has a weak point, but he didn't design one for the maze, fearing its destruction. In response, Gordon points out that not finishing the maze means never failing. Annie empathizes with David, explaining that everyone faces failure, and it's a natural part of life. She then encourages him to create the chrysalis so they can destroy it and escape. The group resumes exploring the maze, encountering Bryn, who was previously killed and is now a paper figure affixed to the wall. Despite her request for high fives, they decline, suspecting a trap. David and Annie continue searching for their objective while Gordon and the others stay behind. David and Annie eventually discover a dim tunnel, leading to the maze's core. There, they construct the heart of the maze. After its completion, Annie hacks through the cardboard with a sword. Sensing this, the group restrains Bryn to protect Annie, but Bryn morphs into a massive hand and vanishes, dragging the cameraman with her. The remaining members rejoin David and Annie at the core. On the way, Gordon becomes separated when the Minotaur starts to chase him. As David and Annie assemble the heart, Harry and his crew document the event. The Minotaur relentlessly pursues Gordon as the heart becomes alive, during which he sees Leonard perish from cardboard blades. At the maze's center, David destroys the heart with the sword, causing the entire structure to collapse. The group escapes the wreckage, safe but devastated. David mourns the loss of his creation, but Harry consoles him, reminding him of the documentary. They clean up the debris and dispose of it outside. As they depart, the Minotaur emerges from the wreckage, accompanied by an origami bird, both seeking vengeance upon humanity.